Let's move on to the next speaker. It's Olivier Vuylsteke, Chief Investment Officer from Nextensa, a building company based here in Brussels. Sorry, can you hear me again? Yeah. Nextensa is the leading Belgian real estate investor and developer. And yeah, besides creating pioneering neighborhoods, Nextensa contributes also to community development and creating sustainable living spaces. So welcome, Olivier Vuylsteke, the floor is yours.
Thank you, and thank you all for participating and allowing us to present some of our projects and the ambition and the vision of our company. I'm already happy to see that our strategy, our ESG strategy, is in line with the new European Bauhaus, and especially grateful to see that some of the events are organized in our building. So this is great. So this is really community building as it should be. I have prepared a couple of slides, and maybe if you allow me to quickly explain Nextensa. We are indeed a Belgian investor and developer, coming from Leaseinvest, being a long-term investor active in Belgium, Luxembourg and Austria, sorry. And then Nextensa, which was merged last year, being a pure developer of large-scale sites such as Tour and Taxi, which you see here, and also Cloche d'Or in Luxembourg. We have, of course, this great opportunity to, on the one hand, have an investment portfolio which allows us, to decarbonize and redevelop buildings in our portfolio and buy them, hold them on a long term, and on the other hand, redevelop and develop also residential buildings, as you can see on the slide in the back, that are being sold to new inhabitants in Brussels and Luxembourg. Yeah, this is a general slide, a multidisciplinary team, our business profile, the strength that we have as a group to indeed look at the long term as a developer, but also as an investor. So we're not here to quickly develop something and walk away. We have the ability to keep our developments in portfolio, and therefore also our aim to invest in sustainability. And this is maybe a quick word on this. So within Nextensa, we have a big emphasis on sustainability. So we really profoundly believe in sustainable buildings towards a sustainable future, and hence also the title of the presentation. And again, as I mentioned, we have that ability to transform buildings in our portfolio that are today not yet sustainable, but that will be in the future, and keep them on a long term also in our portfolio. This is a summarize of our ESG strategy, and again, I was happy to see that it's more in line with the new European Bauhaus. We like beautiful buildings. We focus on sustainability, and we want to do it together, with our tenants, with our shareholders, with the community around us in the areas that we develop. Not going to take too much time, but we are, of course, focusing on wood, and the projects that I will present are also wood focused. Nevertheless, I think it's important to emphasize also the broader sustainability that we want to try to put in place, and obviously the solar panels, the loading stations for electric cars, and there's a lot to be done, and there's high ambitions in Belgium and elsewhere in Europe. Maybe also point out the circularity, and so obviously there we see the wooden constructions, and we'll come back on that later. But what we find interesting is also when we look at Tour and Taxi as a site, we have the opportunity to not only look at one building, but also as a complete site. So, for example, now we are building Park Lane Phase 2, which is a residential part of Tour and Taxi with 350 apartments. And for example, the water that we're taking out to build the underground parking, we are using it to irrigate Gare Maritime and to fit out to load up the ponds that we are creating, as you saw on the first slide. So again, usually you can see that water is being pumped in the sewer and is lost, and we are trying to recollect it. And so it's all these little elements that bring it together as a whole in sustainability, as we believe, at least. A small slide on wood. As you all can see, obviously the one of the main factors of wood is that it's recyclable and reusable, as we've tried to show in this slide. Obviously, a positive impact on the carbon footprint, positive impact also on the construction process, which we'll get to a little bit later. And what we find also, it contributes to a healthy space. So it's not just only the CO2 and etc., but it's also the well-being that people have while working, living, and hanging out in wooden buildings. Also in the research we see, and that's also why we have gone full forward towards ESG. You know, the shift that we've seen with COVID also in the last 2 years towards a greener environment and sustainable buildings. So this is for us, there is no discussion about it, and we hope that things will accelerate very rapidly in the coming years, and that's also again why we are really emphasizing on ESG. I'm going to elaborate a little bit on these 3 projects. There's a 4th one that I've added. So obviously we have the Gare Maritime, which is again a wooden structure, but in terms of sustainability, a much broader project, and I'll get back to it. Monteco, which is a redevelopment of an existing office building that we have completely built in wood. It's a smaller project in the European district. And then the Hive, it's still under process. We still have to introduce the building permit, and I'm also not going to elaborate on the construction and when it will be finished, because that's always a tricky part. But again, the clear ambition to build it in. And wherever we can, we want to go for wood in the sustainability. Gare Maritime is maybe in terms of sustainability an exemplary project that was initiated by Nextensa a couple of years ago. It's an old railway station, part of the Tour and Taxi site that was abandoned since the 80s. It was constructed in 1902, and we managed to completely keep and preserve and renovate the existing structure. So again, circularity and sustainability. It's not just how we build; it's also what we can keep. And so here, for example, the wood on the roof is the existing initial wood that we were able to maintain. Obviously, the steel structure needed some freshening up, but it's a magnificent place in which we created approximately 60,000 square meters of offices combined with retail. There's room for events. It's part of Tour and Taxi site. The building is completely open almost all day, every day of the week. So it's really a place where people can and should come together. Again, going a little bit further than just wood, here a summary of the way the building has been designed. And so we have the 3 big hangars in which 2 have been installed with these 10 modules of office space. We are completely off the grid with this building. So we have geothermal energy under the building. We have rainwater tanks that we use not only to water the plants in the inside gardens, but that we also use for the HVAC system. And then we have 40,000 square meters of solar panels on the roofs. So our cooling and heating is completely done with sustainable solutions, be it the sun or the earth under us. It is still, and although many people claim that they now have the biggest wooden construction in Europe, we are quite proud that we still have the biggest, not that it needs to be the biggest, but it's 10,000 cubic meters of wood that we used to implement these office modules. So we are still quite proud of that. Here you can see what we actually did. So you see the combination of the reused wood or the cleaned up wood of the ceiling, the existing structure in steel, and then the wooden modules that we built within. Why did we build in wood? Obviously, because we like wood, but also in this particular case, because wood seemed to be the most, technically the most practical way of building, because obviously we built it within an existing building. We couldn't put a crane on top of it. And so the prefabrication of wood and the fact that it could be easily assembled within a closed structure led us to wood. And obviously we looked at the time at other solutions, but we are quite pleased with the result. So again, I mentioned the solar panels. There's also solar panels in the windows. So again, from a sustainability point of view, overall, the way we use the building, the way the building looks, but also the way the building is technically constructed, every opportunity has been analyzed and implemented. I mentioned earlier the well-being of wooden buildings. This is a picture of our office. So we are now also living and working in our building since April. We're very pleased, and we see that people are coming to the office more and more, although that there's still this hybrid way of working. And I mean, I don't have to convince you, I think, of the natural aspect of wood and the impact it has on the workforce. A second project, much smaller, is Montico in the European district. This is a project that was initiated at the time still at Leaseinvest. So we bought an old building and an existing building. We tore it down. Okay, in terms of sustainability, maybe not the best solution, but we had from the start really the ambition. It's a smaller project, but we had the ambition to really use it as a test case. This was in 2018. Wood was not really on the radar yet, and we really said, okay, let's use this building. Let's see how far we can go in terms of techniques, and we call it also a smart building or a state of the smart building. But in terms of techniques and also in terms of wood, because we really wanted to learn and go further. And then again, and this is obviously important for us as an investor, but we also realized that very quickly we see the wins of wooden buildings, be it the fact that we now let it on a long-term basis to Bank Nagelmakers, but also again in terms of the construction process, the impact on the environment and the impact on the neighborhood, because here we built the upper structure in wood. We built it 1 floor a week. So in 8 weeks, your entire building is there. And when you compare it to concrete, obviously the impact is a lot longer. And the same goes for Gare Maritime. I forgot to mention, we started. The overall building process was 1.5 years for 12 modules, and so there also the building time per module was 6 to 8 weeks. So this is a clear advantage. Again, when we started the project, these were the goals that we had. We wanted the wood in the office building. These are then the renders in which we went to the market. But again, we're very pleased that the building is almost finished now. but that we were really able to stick to what we initiated, the aspect of wood visible in the office floors. And then on the bottom left, you see which I think is fantastic, the combination of concrete, wood, and the techniques. This is the way forward. A couple of pictures also on the building process, which is quite interesting. And again, the speed in which we can build is quite phenomenal. This is a project that I allow myself to add. Why? It's in terms of sustainability, we are not that far yet, and the building has been completely renewed. But what we did at the bottom left, you see the old wooden facade that has been on the building for 20-25 years. We built this project a couple of years ago, and we realized that we had to renew the facade. And of course, we went for wood. We went for European wood and with all the accreditations, but we managed to reuse this is the building how is it looking now, but we managed to reuse the wood that was on the building before to put it in a new project. So in terms of sustainability and circularity, this is again I think a nice example of the advantages of wood. So the wood was taken off, was cleaned, was repurposed in this new project in Antwerp. Maybe very brief on the further development on Tour and Taxi, the two little buildings in yellow. So on the right is the hive that you already saw, and then on the left we don't have pictures yet, but this is probably going to be a co-living project, and given the size, wherever we can, we want to build it in wood. So this is a project that we're going to do in wood. And this is what it should look like, the hive. I don't have pictures of the co-living yet. But again, we are convinced of all the advantages, the speed of construction, the well-being, the sustainability, and wherever we can, we want to do it in wood. If possible, we would want to do one of the two towers, which is an office tower in the back, also in wood, but we still have some work to do there because there's some challenges once we go into high-rise buildings and towers. These are more images just to show the directly visible aspect of wooden buildings. Obviously, the assembly of wood, and again also what we think, and I think it's in the next slide, the different aspects in which wood and in general materials can be used and reused in a project, going from glass, from concrete, from obviously wood, and these are all things that we are now studying with our Danish architects to implement and to really go a lot further than just a wooden building, but a lot more towards a sustainable building. Thank you.
Very good. Thanks a lot for this very interesting and nice presentation. So also one question for you. So we see that you are very convinced about wood and as a modern material. Do you have to convince your clients about this, and how will you do that as a company?
Well, yes, we had to convince within the team. We had a broad discussion about it at the time. Now, one of our shareholders is CFA. Our shareholder also holds a stake in CFA, and they created wood shapers. So obviously, the link was very quickly put together. But nevertheless, it's indeed towards the market, towards occupiers. It's a new way of building that is not always known. And I think in general, at least as Belgians, but in general, I think we are quite traditional. So we like to go towards what we know, and the new always scares us a little bit. But we were very quickly convinced, again, from an ESG standpoint, and apart from the beauty of wood and the beauty of wooden buildings, also in the advantages of the impact on the surroundings, the fact that there's no CO2 emissions, the speed of building the speed of the building process, excuse me, and what we see now is that there is this tendency towards wooden buildings. People are getting to know it. We are not the only ones building in wood anymore, and we were not at the start. So we're very pleased about that. And so more and more, we believe that people will go towards these wooden buildings. But again, I want to emphasize the broader aspect, sustainable buildings. And it's really for us a combination of wood as a great material to work with, but also the different techniques that are now available to really optimize the use of an office building or a residential building in general.